right. It's just connecting. Apparently it's live streaming on YouTube, so if you're on YouTube and watching this, welcome. That should be fine. Let me share my screen. No, I need to wait for it to connect or else it's going to double up. If you have any questions, you can type them into the chat. I'm happy to answer them. I've actually taken the IELTS, and for your interest, I'm taking the IELTS again next week. Why? Because I didn't get a 9 in writing, and I want to get a 9 in writing. I want to see if it's actually possible to get a 9, because I don't know anyone ever who has got a 9 in IELTS writing. And I just want to prove that that is actually possible. Still connecting. Come on, Zoom and YouTube. There we go. Timed out. Let's try again. Come on. Done. All right. Fabulous. Let me just turn off the volume. Cool. All right. Let me share my slides and then we'll get started. Cool. All right, let me just get that all straightened out. Cool. And let me record this. Welcome to this live class by E2 Language. My name is Jay. I'm one of the expert IELTS teachers. I've actually taken the IELTS, and I got a 9 in speaking, which is unsurprising because I'm a native speaker, but I thought it was very difficult. And I thought particularly part 2 of IELTS speaking was extremely difficult. Speaking about a single topic for 2 minutes. Whoa. Anyway, what I'm going to teach you in this lesson is a strategy for how to do part 2 effectively, easily. And it also has the hidden benefit of increasing your scores, well, I think probably enormously. Let's have a look. So as you know, part 1 is small talk. Part 2, you have to tell a great story. We're going to look at that one. In part 3, you discuss big ideas. So let's have a think about this part 2, tell a great story. This is when the examiner hands you the task card, gives you 1 minute to prepare and 2 minutes to speak about this boring task card. It's really tough. Task card, 1 minute preparation, 2 minutes to talk. Common topics will include things like festivals or museums or travel or a childhood friend, important person, object, food, music, movie, relative, home or school. Quite mundane topics, quite not boring, but just it's difficult to generate ideas and to speak for 2 minutes on one of these topics. 30 seconds, fine. 2 minutes, difficult. Let's look at an example task card. For example, the task card might say, talk about a present you received. You should say who gave it to you, what it was, what it looked like, and explain whether or not you liked it. This is what you should not do. Ready? In 3, 2, 1. Today, I would like to talk about a present I received from my father. My father gave it to me. It was a wallet. It looks like a wallet. It was brown. I liked it. Okay, so I just spoke for about 10 seconds. And so now I've got 1 minute and 50 seconds left. So usually what I would do is go back and say, my father gave me the wallet. My father's name is Bob. It looked like a wallet. You're going to get like an IELTS 2 for that effort. So we need a strategy because it's extremely hard to speak for 2 minutes on that boring topic. The strategy is this. We call it PPF. What that means is past, present, and future. So what I'm going to do, instead of just telling one story about a present I received, I'm going to tell 3 stories. I'm going to tell a past story, a present story, and a future story, all based on this. Each story will go for about 30 to 40 seconds, and each story will go through these dot points. Is that allowed? Am I allowed to do that? Yes. There's nothing in the criteria that say that you have to only speak about a past story. In fact, there's nothing in the criteria that say you have to speak about the task card. The criteria, I'll show you in a second, do not assess verb tenses, in other words. So let's look at a past story, present, then a future. So here's a past story. I'm going to read this past story to you. Then we're going to look at the verbs that I use. So here it is, present I received. When I was young, I used to receive a lot of presents from my grandmother. She was extremely generous. Although she had 6 children, she was always excellent at giving presents to each of us that meant a lot to us. While she would always give us gifts on our birthdays and at Christmas, she would also sometimes just surprise us. I used to visit her a lot when I was a kid. She lived in the city and our family lived in the countryside. Going shopping for gifts was always so exciting. One particular gift she gave me was a cricket bat. It was an expensive one that was made of English willow and I loved it. It had very bright stickers on it. I used to take it to school and all the other boys were jealous of it. That's 45 seconds, and that is a significant story. There's a lot there, and it's only 45 seconds. Now, interestingly, the verbs of my past story are important. Was, used to receive, was, had, was, meant, would always give, would always surprise, used to visit, lived, was, gave, was, loved, had, used to, were. So my first story, my first past story went for 45 seconds and used a lot of past tense verbs. Fine, but I've still got 1 minute and 15 seconds left. What am I going to do? Am I going to go back to the start and tell the same story again? No. What I'm going to do is tell a present story. More recently, my girlfriend gives me presents all the time. She is also extremely generous. Most recently, she gave me a black jacket. I love it. It's trendy and modern and really warm in winter. I also give her lots of presents, although I'm not as good at choosing gifts as she is. She has taught me a lot about gift giving and how important it is. I guess I've learned recently that gifts, especially in a romantic relationship, are really important. Maybe more important for women than men. She really likes it when I give her gifts. They don't have to be expensive, but something like a flower or a block of chocolate makes her really happy. But yeah, the jacket she gave me is something that I really treasure. So what present verbs did I use? Gives, not gave, gives. Is, not was, is. I've used a past tense verb here, that's fine. I love it. It is, give, I am, is, has taught, I've learned, is, are, likes, give, don't have to be, makes, give, is, treasure. Cool. So I told my past tense story for 45 seconds. Now I've told a completely different story with a different person and a different gift. Now I move on and I've got 30 seconds left. So I'm going to tell a future story and I'm going to use future tense verbs and modal verbs. By this stage, the examiner is looking at me thinking, wow, this guy is good. Why? Because all of my verbs are changing from the past to the present and now they're going to change to the future. And so first of all, grammar score is going to increase. Vocabulary score will increase. The task response criteria, which I will show you in a second, will increase. Let's have a look. In the future, I'd like to receive a gift from my father. He owns a nice old motorbike and I'm hoping that one day he'll give it to me. I'd love to ride around on that motorbike. It's black and it's powerful and it looks awesome. I guess I'll have to wait for that motorbike though, as my dad adores it, so he won't give it to me easily. I might have to wait until he is too old to ride it. Then I might ask him politely whether he can give it to me. I'd love to ride around the countryside on that old motorbike. 30 seconds. Let's look at the verbs. I would. Here's a present one, that's fine. He owns. I'm hoping. He will give. I would love. It is. It is. Looks. I will have to wait. Adores. He won't give. Will not give. Might have to wait. Might ask. Can give. I would love. I've told 3 stories now and I've hit 2 minutes and my performance has been interesting. My language has been complex. And to be honest, it's just much much easier to tell 3 stories than tell 1 story. This went for 30 to 40 seconds. The past story, 30 to 40 seconds. The present story, 30 to 40 seconds. And I might have time at the end to tell a future story. It depends. Usually it'll be a shorter story, about 20 to 30 seconds. But it says a present you received, past tense. These are the criteria that the IELTS use to assess your speaking, and there is nothing said about following the task card. You get scored on fluency and coherence. Fluency means your ability to speak without hesitating. And the other, coherence, means you develop your topics fully and appropriately. Perfect, that's fine. Lexical resource means your vocabulary use. Well, we've used a lot of different verbs. Grammatical, and we've told 3 different stories, which makes it easier to use different vocabulary. Grammatical range and accuracy, we would definitely get a high score for that because all of our verb changes and modal verbs and everything that happens there. The only one that you really need to worry about that I can't help you with this strategy is pronunciation. You have to think about that. So yes, this strategy does work for IELTS speaking, and that's how you get a 9. All right, now enough talking from me. I want you to try. I want you to talk about a person you recently met. You should say where you met them, what they look like, what their personality was like, and explain whether or not you like them. Talk about someone you met. Talk about someone you have been meeting recently, okay? Someone at work. Every day I meet with my boss. My boss is blah, blah, blah. And then tell a future story. One day I would like to meet the Queen. She would be very interesting. Tell 3 stories. I'll give you 1 minute preparation. In the 1 minute preparation, all you need to do is think about who you will tell the past story about, who you will tell the present story about, and who you will tell the future story about. Then you just need to go through these, tell 3 stories. Your 1 minute preparation time starts now. "30 seconds preparation left." Tell your 3 stories starting now. "30 seconds." It's 1 minute, 1 minute left. 30 seconds left. You might want to tell a future story. Three, two, one, and stop. How did you go? Just type into the chat whether that worked or not. How did you tell? Did you tell 3 stories? Were you able to tell 3 stories? Maybe people are still talking. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Let's try it again. Again, I want you to split your talk up into 3 parts. Tell a past story. So you're going to use past tense verbs. Then the present story is going to be interesting. Let's look at this one again. So with this one, I could talk about a friend I used to know. Okay, so I met my friend in primary school. He was short and had long hair. He was a courageous and adventurous guy. He was really funny. So I'm using past tense to describe this guy. Now I'm going to move to the present story, and I'll talk about every day I meet with my colleague at work, Colin, and we discuss politics and we discuss history and we discuss all these interesting subjects. He is interesting. I like him. I'm using present tense verbs. Then I'm going to tell a future story. And I'll say, in the future, I would like to meet with Ben Affleck because he plays Batman and Batman would be cool, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just tell these stories and change up your verbs. Let's try it again. PPF, past, present, future. I'm going to give you 1 minute to prepare. Here's your task card. I'm going to tell you every 30 seconds when 30 seconds is up. Your preparation time starts now. Good, Vinny. That's looking good. Well done. Thirty-second preparation left. Tell your past story in 3, 2, 1, start. Tell your present story. Good. And tell a future story. 20 seconds left. Okie dokie. How did you go? Did it help telling the 3 different stories? Because it would be difficult to speak for 2 minutes about one movie. Crazy, really hard. But if you split it up, it makes it much easier. So for me, past story, I would talk about, I don't know, I would talk about my favorite movie when I was a kid, right? It was Gulliver's Travels. So I could talk about Gulliver's Travels. Gulliver's Travels was my favorite movie. It's an adventure movie. It showed how Gulliver got stuck on an island with the Lilliputians and the Big Enders. It would appeal to children. I liked it because it was fantastic and the characters were interesting. There's my past verbs. Present story. Well, I haven't watched a movie for a long time, so I would talk about a TV show I am watching called House of Cards. Recently, I have been watching a TV show, and again, it's off topic. It's not a movie, it's a TV show, but that's okay. It's fine. I do not need to follow this exactly. At the moment, I have been watching a TV show called House of Cards. It is interesting. It is set in Washington in America. It is about politics. It shows how one man can become the US president, blah, blah, blah. Future story. In the future, I would like to see the new Stephen King It film. It will be a remake of the old film, blah, 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 and I use future tense verbs for that story as well. So it takes practice to do this. It takes practice, and I think it also takes feedback in order to get really good at this strategy. But this strategy will help you. If you need feedback, if you need help, sign up to e2language.com. If you're a non-member, if you're a free member, think about upgrading so you can get feedback on your speaking submissions. But right now, let's just go to Q&A. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat. Suresh, how long will my account be active for? Suresh, your account will be active until you pass your test. That's our policy here. Cool. Binny wants to meet with Enrique. She's a big fan of him. I find his voice melodious. Fair enough. Cool. Any questions about IELTS speaking, or I might leave you to it. Shaquila's got her test in 1 hour. Good luck. All right, no questions? I might leave it there. Okay, no problem. So Jess, on YouTube, it will require practice. Cool. All right, I'll leave you to it. Please check Q&A. Hello, Jay, I haven't received timetable. Binny, please check your email and please check your spam just in case it went to the spam. If you haven't received it, please email hello@e2language.com. Cool, guys. I'll see you soon. Thanks for coming along.